You know, when I first took office, I spoke a lot about hope. Not blind optimism, not the kind of hope that ignores the challenges in front of us, but the kind of hope that's grounded in hard work, in common decency, in unity, the belief that together we can do big things. That's who we are as Americans. But lately, we've seen something different. We've seen politics driven not by facts, not by reason, but by fear, by anger, by the kind of rhetoric that aims not to lift people up, but to tear them down. And let me be clear, that's not leadership. That's not patriotism. That's not what made this country the envy of the world. When we reduce our politics to name-calling, when we start blaming groups of people based on where they come from, how they worship, or who they love, we chip away at the very foundation of our democracy. We begin to see fellow citizens not as neighbors, but as threats. And that's dangerous, because democracy doesn't work when we demonize one another. It works when we recognize the dignity of every individual, even the ones we disagree with. Now, I understand, it's tempting. It's easy to give in to cynicism, to believe that things can't get better, that politics is just a game, that power is just about who yells the loudest. If history has taught us anything, it's that change doesn't come from division. It comes from people standing together, not in anger, but in resolve. America has always been a nation of progress. We've stumbled, sure. We've taken steps backward, but we've also marched forward toward justice, toward equality, toward that more perfect union. And each time, we moved forward not because of fear, but because of hope, because people believed in something bigger than themselves. We believe in facts. We believe in science. We believe in the rule of law. We believe in the Constitution. And we believe in the idea that no one is above the law. Not a president, not a senator, not a billionaire. We believe that truth matters, that character matters, that how you treat people when nobody's watching matters. And yes, we believe in democracy, not just in theory, but in practice. Democracy means listening. It means compromise. It means we don't always get everything we want, but we keep showing up. We keep working. We keep voting. Because we know that progress takes time, it takes patience, it takes faith. There are folks out there trying to tell us that the best days are behind us, that the world is too dangerous, that America needs to turn inward, shut itself off, build walls. But that's not who we are. We're builders. We're doers. We're a nation of immigrants and pioneers and dreamers. We don't cower in the face of change, we shape it. You can't lead this country if you see every disagreement as a personal insult, if you see every criticism as an attack, if you see every compromise as weakness. Real leadership means having the strength to listen, to learn, to grow, to lead not just those who agree with you, but those who don't. And when that happens, you will lead the world. When you reach for those who aren't as you are, those who are not as you are, we should be. We are for people. We are for people. And so, to every young person watching, to every voter still deciding, to every American who feels that knot in their stomach when they see the news, I want you to know, you have the power. Your voice matters. Your vote matters. Your values matter. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. We've come too far. We've fought too hard. We've sacrificed too much to go backwards now. Not when the stakes are this high. Not when our children are watching. Not when the world is listening. Because in the end, the question isn't just what kind of leader we want. It's what kind of country we want to be. Leadership isn't just about holding a title or standing at a podium. It's about the example you set. It's about how you treat people, especially when the cameras are off, when there's nothing to gain. Real leadership is rooted in unity, in the idea that we rise or fall together, that our strength as a nation has always come from our ability to come together even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. Right now, in a time of growing division and loud voices trying to pull us apart, we're reminded just how crucial it is to have leaders who appeal to the better angels of our nature. Leaders who don't see compromise as surrender, but as progress. Leaders who recognize that being strong doesn't mean shouting the loudest or pointing the most fingers. It means having the confidence to listen, the humility to admit when you're wrong, the courage to speak truth even when it's not popular. That's real strength. That's real leadership. When we build our politics on insults, on scapegoating, on blaming others for the problems we face, we start to unravel the bonds that hold this country together. We've seen it. People turning on each other, trust breaking down, our shared sense of reality being replaced by conspiracy and chaos. That's not a sign of leadership. That's the absence of it. Because leadership doesn't exploit our differences, it bridges them. It's easy to lead when everyone agrees with you. It's easy to speak to a room full of supporters. But the true test of leadership is how you reach those who don't already stand in your corner. How you govern for everyone, not just those who voted for you. How you show up for the immigrant working 2 jobs, for the single mom trying to make ends meet, for the factory worker worried about the next paycheck, and yes, even for the person who sees the world differently than you do. Leadership grounded in unity also means rejecting the politics of fear. It means resisting the urge to define ourselves by who or what we're against, and instead focusing on what we're for. Fairness, opportunity, justice, dignity. It means treating disagreement not as treason, but as a sign of a healthy democracy. It means understanding that patriotism doesn't mean agreeing all the time. It means believing deeply enough in this country to want to make it better, even when it's hard. Throughout our history, America has never been moved forward by those who divided us. It's been moved by those who believed in something bigger than themselves, who believed that our differences aren't weaknesses, they're our strength. Because when we come together, when we work across lines of race and religion, party and region, we do extraordinary things. We've proven it time and again. We just have to remember who we are, and we have to demand leaders who remember that too. Democracy, at its core, is built on trust. Trust in each other, trust in our institutions, and trust in the rules that we all agree to play by. It's not just about elections or casting a ballot every few years. It's about how we live together, how we resolve disagreements, how we make decisions as a community, and how we make sure every voice is heard, not just the loudest or most powerful. And that only works when we respect the truth, when we value facts, and when we understand that no one, not even those in the highest office, is above the law. You can't have a functioning democracy when lies spread faster than facts. When people begin to doubt the legitimacy of elections, not because of any real evidence, but because someone told them to. That kind of erosion doesn't happen all at once. It starts small. A little misinformation here, a denial of reality there, and pretty soon people aren't sure what's real and what's not. They stop trusting the process. They stop believing their vote matters. And when that happens, the foundation begins to crack. Respecting the truth isn't a political position. It's a moral one. It means we don't bend the facts to fit our opinions. We shape our opinions around the facts. That's what science is about. That's what journalism is about. That's what good governance is about. And when leaders deliberately distort the truth, when they promote conspiracy theories or deny proven facts for personal gain, they're not just playing a game. They're attacking the very structure of our democracy. The rule of law means everyone plays by the same rules. It means we don't make excuses for bad behavior just because it comes from someone on our side. It means we hold each other accountable. Because the moment we start thinking that some people are too important to be questioned, too powerful to face consequences, that's the moment democracy becomes something else entirely. That's when it starts to look like something darker, something more dangerous. Democracy isn't about agreeing all the time. It's not about pretending there aren't real differences between us. It's about how we handle those differences. Do we shout each other down? Do we try to silence or intimidate? Without accountability, there is no justice. And without justice, democracy is nothing more than a shell. That's why it matters who we choose to lead, not just for their ideas or policies, but for their commitment to truth, their respect for the law, and their belief that facts still matter. That character still matters. That democracy still matters. From the very beginning, this country has moved forward, not because we were afraid, but because we believed. We believed in the promise of something better, even when it wasn't easy to see. We believed that despite the imperfections of our founding, we had the ability to change, to grow, to build a more just and equal society. That kind of belief, grounded in hope, not fear, is what has always driven American progress. It's what gave strength to the civil rights movement, what powered women's suffrage, what brought down walls and lifted people out of poverty. This is why Brandon was entrusted to lead the team. That was the vision for the civil rights movement. We believe that the values that helped to form America is what grounded many people during the civil rights movement. We believed that it wasn't fear that built this nation, it was courage. Fear is a powerful force. It can be used to divide, to turn neighbor against neighbor, to convince people that their fellow citizens are a threat. It's easy to play on people's anxieties, to say the world is too dangerous, that change is something to be avoided, that we've got to go back to the way things used to be. But that has never been the American way. We've never been a people who looked backward. We've been a people who look ahead. We imagine, we innovate, we adapt, because we know the future belongs to those who are willing to embrace it. Hope doesn't mean pretending problems don't exist. It doesn't mean being naive or ignoring the challenges we face. What it means is refusing to be paralyzed by them. It means seeing what's wrong and believing that together we can make it right. That's what hope is. It's the quiet strength of a young organizer knocking on doors, the persistence of a teacher in an underfunded classroom, the determination of a parent working 2 jobs so their kids can have a shot at something more. It's not flashy. It doesn't always make headlines, but it moves the world forward. When fear takes hold of our politics, we start making decisions based on what we're against, not what we're for. We start defining ourselves by who we want to exclude rather than who we want to include. That's not how we build strong communities. That's not how we solve problems. That's how we stall. That's how we retreat. And retreating is not an option when there's so much work to be done on climate, on education, on healthcare, on civil rights. Throughout our history, the moments of greatest progress have come when we chose hope over fear, when we stood up and said we can do better, when we pushed past the easy cynicism and rolled up our sleeves. That spirit, the belief that we're not locked into the status quo, that we can shape the future with our hands, our minds, and our hearts. That's what makes America special. That's what makes democracy work. That's what brings people together and moves us toward that more perfect union. Fear divides. Hope builds. And the work of building has never been more urgent. Character matters. It always has. It matters in the quiet moments when nobody is watching. It matters in how we treat people who can't do anything for us. It matters when we make decisions that affect lives, not just headlines. Leadership isn't just about having power. It's about how you use it. And in a democracy, the highest offices don't exist for self-enrichment or self-preservation. They exist to serve, to uplift, to protect. The oath is to the Constitution, not to ego. We expect a lot from our leaders, and we should. Because leadership in a democracy isn't about theatrics. It's not about seeking attention or dominating the conversation. It's about having the integrity to speak the truth, even when it's inconvenient. It's about owning your mistakes, not blaming others. It's about leading not just those who agree with you, but also those who don't. It's about ascending to power and bringing it to the people. It's about owning your mistakes, not blaming others. It's about owning your mistakes, not blaming others. It's about owning your mistakes. It's about owning your mistakes. It's about owning your mistakes. That's what character looks like in public service. That's what responsibility demands. Accountability is not optional in a democracy. It's the price of leadership. If you're going to make decisions on behalf of millions of people, if you're going to guide the course of a nation, then you don't get to avoid scrutiny. You don't get to make your own rules. The moment we start excusing misconduct, the moment we start acting like some people are too powerful to face consequences, we lose the moral high ground that gives democracy its legitimacy. That's when people begin to lose faith, not just in leaders, but in the system itself. Respect for institutions, for the law, for the truth. These aren't signs of weakness. They're signs of discipline, signs of strength. And strength, real strength, doesn't come from tearing others down. It doesn't come from stoking division or encouraging resentment. It comes from standing tall in the face of adversity, from taking the hard path when the easy one would be more popular. It comes from putting country over self. Now, none of us are perfect. We all fall short. But the question is, do we try to be better? Do we learn from our failures? Do we surround ourselves with people who challenge us to grow, or with those who only tell us what we want to hear? Leaders of character don't need to be the smartest person in the room. They just need the humility to listen, the judgment to know right from wrong, and the courage to act on it. Because what our children see, what they hear, what they come to believe about leadership, it doesn't just shape their views of politics, it shapes their views of themselves, of what's possible, of what's acceptable. And when character is absent at the top, it creates a vacuum. It lowers the bar. It teaches the next generation that rules don't matter, that values are flexible, that truth is negotiable. That's not the legacy we want to leave behind. And that's why we must demand better, not perfection, but decency, honesty, and a commitment to something greater than oneself. In every chapter of American history, the greatest force for change hasn't been a politician or a policy. It's been the people. Ordinary citizens doing extraordinary things. It's not something handed down from the top, something built from the ground up. And it only works when people participate, when people care enough to show up, to speak out, and to vote. Your voice matters, your vote matters, and when you use both, you shape the direction of this country. That's not just a slogan. That's the truth. Every expansion of rights, every step toward justice, every piece of progress we've made came because people got involved. They marched. They organized. They voted. They believed that change was possible, and they made it real. That legacy belongs to every citizen willing to pick up the torch and carry it forward. And I know sometimes it feels like your voice is too small, like the system's too broken, like the forces trying to divide us are too strong. But history tells a different story. History tells us that when young people rise up, when working people unite, when communities stand together, they can shake the foundations of power. They can make those in charge listen. They can turn the tide. But none of that happens if we give in to apathy. If we start believing the lie that politics is just noise, that all leaders are the same, that nothing ever changes. That kind of cynicism is easy, it's comfortable, but it's also dangerous. Because the more people check out, the more space is left for those who want to exploit power for personal gain. The fewer people vote, the easier it becomes for democracy to slip into something less. And don't let anyone tell you that your voice doesn't count, that your community doesn't count, that your dreams don't count. By convincing people they don't have any. By convincing people they don't have any, but you do. You always have. The only question is whether you'll use it, whether you'll show up, not just for yourself, but for your neighbors, for your children, for the generations yet to come. Because every time you vote, every time you make your voice heard, you're declaring that this country belongs to all of us. It belongs to teachers and nurses, to small business owners and truck drivers, to students and seniors. It belongs to people who believe in decency, in fairness, in the idea that we're stronger together than we are apart. That's the power you hold. And that's why your engagement, your action, your belief in the possibility of something better, that's the heartbeat of our democracy. So in this moment, with all its noise, all its urgency, all its division, we're faced with a choice. A choice not just about politics or party, but about the kind of nation we want to be. One where fear governs, or one where hope leads. One where truth matters, where character counts, where democracy is preserved not just in words, but in the actions we take every single day. Never has been. But if we remember who we are, if we hold fast to our values, to our better angels, then there is nothing we cannot do. There is no challenge too great, no darkness too deep, no division too wide, because the promise of America has always been worth the fight.